All right, all right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Well, good evening, where David is at, is at right now. Um, this is Marketing and Marketer Brothers. My brother Carlos couldn't be here this morning, but I have a very, very special guest with us, David Johnson Wood. Um, Met this amazing guy at the Spartan Agoge in Mongolia, Mongolia of all places, and he's going to tell us a little bit about his story, about who he is, and his amazing projects. I mean, he's got a super cool clothing brand, and that we want to talk about. And thank you, David. Welcome for thank you for being here, man.
Cheers, bro. Thanks for having me.
All right, brother. So, dude, first of all, tell us a little bit who David Johnson Wood is, man. I mean, a little bit about your upbringing, your military career. Tell us a little bit who you are.
So I was born in Chattanooga, Tennessee, 1979. Back in the day.
Dude, we were born the same year, man. 79. What month are you from?
November.
I'm August. I'm August.
Okay, Poppy. My birthday is La Dia de Muerte.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So I grew up a pastor's kid. So my father, I'm the only Southerner in my family. I was born in Chattanooga. We moved to Boston when I was still an infant. So I went from the South, growing up north, lived all over the East Coast, South Carolina, North Carolina, Georgia, and Tennessee. I went to University of Tennessee, studied philosophy and religious studies after my time in the Marines. In 1999. Went in 0311 infantry, and then was selected for SRIG, Surveillance Reconnaissance Intelligence Group. So I went over to Intel School, went SRIG, was deployed nonstop, did a lot of work in Latin America, the Balkans, and then right after 9/11, I was actually flying back on September 11th from 29 Palms, doing desert training, and landed at our base in Jacksonville, North Carolina, Camp Lejeune on September 11th. So got off the plane, sirens, freaking craziness going on, and deployed from there. We were the first boots on the ground into Afghanistan. So we went to Oman, Pakistan, and then to Kandahar, Afghanistan, and I spent a good bit of time as sergeant and finished my time. Got stopped loss, so I had to stay in longer than I planned because they weren't letting people out at their end of active service.
Mm-hmm.
It was that's how the government does you, by giving you that big green weenie sometimes. And yeah, so I finished, went to University of Tennessee, studied philosophy and religious studies, used the GI Bill. They paid for everything. They were great. The government paid for me to go to school. And I didn't even walk for graduation. I took a job opportunity 12 and a half years ago to come to Hong Kong and do intensive liaison work, and work with NGOs and NPOs throughout Southeast Asia. I've been here ever since.
Oh, cool.
Been here 12 years, permanent resident in Hong Kong. Getting ready to, in a few months, relocate permanently to Marbella, Spain.
Oh, nice. Marbella is beautiful.
Yeah, I've been going there quite often for a while. So my family's already moved to Europe. It's just me and my son here, holding down the fort, getting everything packed and stacked. And yeah, I'll head out in a few weeks, and I'll be in Lithuania, then Germany, Czech Republic, and then finally España.
Nice, dude. Nice. Dude, Spain is Spain. My family and I always want to go to Spain. We're looking to moving for a year into Barcelona. I have a lot of friends in Barcelona, and it's just beautiful there, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. That's amazing. So, dude, we met at Agoge, Mongolia. For those who don't know who don't know what it is, Spartan Agoge is a 60+ hour event, endurance event where you learn a ton of stuff, and you were instrumental into us learning quite a bit in Mongolia. So tell us a little bit. How did you get involved with Spartan endurance, and how did you become a Krav? Because that's where I met you, and to be honest with you, I'd never heard of you before that.
So I had never heard of Spartan Extreme Endurance before. I didn't know anything about the Agoges, didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
And I had been asked probably 9 to 11 months before then by a group here in Hong Kong called Hybrid Group to sponsor a Spartan race and basically pay them all this money and give them a bunch of free gear and stuff to validate my brand as a warrior brand. And I had looked at their website and everything and saw people throwing spears, and I was just like, yeah, I mean, I didn't put things together. I was like, all right, dude, well, I'm a combat vet, and that's cool. So that was kind of that. We didn't work with each other, and that was kind of my first ever experience of Spartan.
Yeah.
Fast forward 9 months, and I get a phone call from Anthony Droz, Cryptea Marine.
Yep.
And like, hey, bro, he's like, I work with Spartan, and I was like, yeah, dude, I've had phone calls with Spartan Race. And he's like, no, I'm working with Spartan Extreme Endurance, and let me just tell you about Mongolia and whatnot. And that was the first time that I had ever heard of the Agoge, had ever heard of like these kind of crazy freaking races. And he said, I've seen Virtus Outdoor Group. I've seen, I follow Rudy Reyes. I follow you. I want to see, I want to get us in the gear. I want the Cryptea to be in the gear. And we started shooting back and forth. And the next thing I knew, they wanted me to come out and be a guest Cryptea. Obviously from my background in the Marines and the intel field, as an extreme outdoorsman, combat veteran. And that was that. So that was my first, literally probably 4 weeks before the Agoge. I found out about it, started reviewing stuff with Mark Peterson and was like, dude, this is rad. We went out, it was just going to be a one-time thing. And then meeting Dave Watson, he's like a brother to me now. He and I stayed in touch. Right after that Agoge, I started leading Spartan Extreme Endurance events in Singapore, China. And then I went and met Joe DeSena at the H3X in Sparta, I guess, a little over a year ago.
Okay.
And that, he and I talked about kind of what is Virtus. Virtus is Latin for warrior virtues, honor, courage, commitment, honesty, integrity, and living it, and that being art, not just some pipe dream or some slogan, but we own, develop, patent our fabrics, our camo. Every designing it, to owning it, to being there, top to bottom, manufacturing it, and then going out and living it. There's no fat CEO sitting behind a desk signing paychecks and telling people what to do. Like, it's us. We own the brand. We live with the brand. We are the brand. And so when I met him, I had been reading one of his books. He knows that I'm a Christian, so I'm always talking about the telos, God, the acme, the finish line, and the trajectory, staying on the path, the trajectory to get to the telos. And it was going right in sync with his, where he's at, and not saying he's a Christian, but just saying spiritually. Mm-hmm. And in our lives, following our true north, how do we set our moral compass to the true north? Our trajectory, our path to the telos. And just sitting there and shooting the shit with Joe for a couple of hours, we just clicked. And I realized, like, this guy is on a path that he's leading humbly, that he's leading by example, and this guy's changing people's lives, and that's what he loves to do. Like, this is what Joe DeSena is about. He helps people. Yep. Like, this guy came off Wall Street. Like, this dude's made the money, done this, and now he's literally giving every spare second of his life to others. Mm-hmm. And so when I really got to know him, then I started to understand what the Spartan race was all about, because I started to understand that he wants people to get off the couch. He wants people, we all face obstacles in life, and it is about going through the obstacles, and it's about fighting and perseverance and striving. And so when I, then I went and did Spartan races that I used to think were silly. Yeah. I went and did some and was like, okay, I love these. Now I get it. Now I get why there's a sprint. Now I get why there's a beast. Now I get why there, and so it was, Mongolia was literally my first experience with it, and things just blossomed from there. And now, we signed last year as the exclusive brand for Spartan Extreme Endurance.
Awesome.
That entails not just clothing, but that entails really working as Cryptea with Virtus operators, Virtus Pro staff coming in, and not but, not trying to take over to other crypto, just being another, another plate on a beautiful table of food. I mean, just another, just another skill set, or another thing to complement the already great leadership and crypto that are there. So
that's awesome, dude. That's awesome. Yeah, actually, funny you say that. That the whole transformation, how, and Spartan created this platform which transforms people. I myself, I'm an example of that. I used to be a completely different person, corporate America, entrepreneur, but my love of money, I would be that asshole that would tell you, I don't play with my kids because I'm not a kid person, stuff like that, and just only money, wanting to buy a jet and all that stuff. And I started doing some events, started a little bit into endurance, and then somebody told me about the Spartan Agoge, and my first Agoge was 005, which was in Vermont, and Joe DeSena's literally farm, and he's there, destroying you. and after 48 hours of not sleeping and doing 2,000 burpees and doing all this stuff, your mind just goes to a food, water, and shelter place where you're in survival, and the beauty of that is that then you can rebuild it. You can actually rebuild it back to what it's supposed to be, because we get all these things that influence us throughout our lives, and we think shit is important that it isn't at all, and what transformed me is literally Joe brought a guy that was he was a fire walking expert, and one of the actual materials in our gear list was a foot by a foot by an inch plywood, just sitting in your backpack, annoying you the whole entire time, and a Sharpie, and once after doing 2,400 burpees and a 15-minute plank, man, we're sitting there, and they tell us, all right, now you have to write in one side of this wood, what is your dream? What is actually your biggest dream? Which I always thought it was just money and material stuff and everything. And on the other side, what's keeping you from accomplishing this dream? And I have two beautiful daughters, and my dream was to be a better father. And down on the other side of it, and that what was keeping me from it it was my love of money. And since then my life changed completely. I literally fired myself from my own company. Started getting together with different organizations, with different nonprofits. Have an amazing relationship with my kids, with my wife, and it's just the Agoge itself. I mean, I'm living proof that the Agoge made me a much better person. So it's real. It's there. People can actually take that leap and become better by that platform that Joe and now you, with that being as a partner and everything, are creating and are always improving.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, no, it's really, it is that it's that journey, and it's that transformation. We live in a world where, and I say this as I'm in Hong Kong and you're in Ecuador, and
yep.
we're connected.
Yep.
You and I were talking earlier offline, about some of the stuff that was going on in Hong Kong, and it's, governments can't keep the wool on our eyes because we're connected.
Yep.
They try. And, I'm like you, I'm an entrepreneur. So there's always something when we're plugged in that we can be getting into. There's always another way to network. There's always another way to make money. There's always this deal. And, similar to you, it was a blessing and a curse. I mean, it was always that rush.
Yep.
To, well, I can do this. And it's always an excuse because you're like, well, I'm providing for my family.
Yes, exactly.
Making more money to provide for my family. And, when you are out there separated, you don't have this anymore.
Yep.
You can't be hitting people on emails. You can't be looking at stocks. You can't be, surfing.
Mm-hmm.
You realize what matters, and what matters, right? Your family.
Oh, yeah.
You're hurting. You're thinking about them. You're not thinking about the fucking email.
Yeah, exactly. Not at all. Not at all. That doesn't even cross your mind.
Yeah, that doesn't cross your mind. You're thinking about, oh, I'm so hungry. I hope my daughters are never this hungry.
Yep.
I hope my wife is never this cold. And so, yeah, I agree. It's an amazing transformative. And I mean, I love how, I love how we all say evolution.
Yep.
It's not a race.
It's not.
It's an evolution.
Exactly, dude. When we at one point, as you remember, man, we had to cross this lake. This is like half a kilometer lake, freaking lake, dude. And then we were fully clothed, and we had to do that poncho raft. Create a raft with your waterproof tarp and your pack, and we're crossing this thing, man. And I gotta tell you, man, that the middle of that freaking lake was the lowest point in my life, man. I was in the middle of that thing. The wind, you're not moving. Peterson is in a raft freaking yelling at you like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Dude, I'm trying to survive here. And I remember just thinking in the middle of this lake, man, my legs were cramped, my arms were cramped. I was like, dude, this might be it, man. I'm gonna just die here. And then that just like you said, the immediate thought is like, dude, you can't die here, and you have your daughters, you have your family, you gotta get the hell out of here, man. So turn around, man, just doggy paddle down to the shore and got out, but and I'm sure you've been in more extreme circumstances like that in the Marines and everything, but that's just that you're absolutely right. As soon as you have hunger or you have pain, you immediately go, yes, I hope my daughters never experience this, and I am becoming better because I experienced this, and I can now give them a life that gives me perspective. It gives you complete perspective. Yeah, bro.
Look, I mean, that was pretty real world. I mean, people were getting hypothermia. We didn't know if that dude was going to make it or not. We dragged him to the yurt. I was telling everybody to get naked and put on skin, and it worked. I mean, I was glad that Ruby and I were there with our experience from the Marines because we're used to, being in cold elements and being in that cold drink. But that was that was not planned. That was how that worked out, and people really got to learn from it. And there's no better way to learn than getting that close to chaos and getting in the chaos, but being brothers and sisters next to you to pull it out.
Yeah, man.
But I was addicted after that. I mean, I freaking that was a proper Agoge, dude. I mean, just the first run, the original run that everybody thought was going to be like 15 miles turned out to be like 35, 40. You remember, like getting right off the bus, everyone got the blessing, and then we took off, and it didn't stop. It didn't stop.
Dude, and then right after we had to go through the mountains. We had to pick two teams and freaking go up that mountain, man. And it's like getting nighttime, man. And it's cold in Mongolia at night, dude. It is freaking cold. And it's just that landscape, man. I mean, I remember very clearly we're getting finally after 30 miles to the freaking base camp. And dude, all of a sudden you hear like an earthquake, man, and you see thousands of beautiful wild horses just galloping right in front of you, and you're like, where the hell am I? This is like paradise, It was amazing, man. It was amazing. It was unforgettable. So, dude,
you could see every star in the sky.
Yeah,
you could see the Milky Way. Literally.
You could see the Milky Way, yeah, and then, dude, I mean, I'm not a big spiritual person, man, but I remember the biggest thing that I remember, man, is that remember it was about to rain, like it was about to storm bad, man. We were gonna get it bad, and all of a sudden, man, these shamans, man, they come out, man. They come out with their things and their horses and their horse milk and stuff like that, and they're doing the thing, and they're like, don't worry, we'll send the rain away, dude, and the freaking sky opened and two rainbows just showed up, man. And you're like, shit, man. This is insane. Yeah, man.
It was a trip.
It was something, man.
Yeah, that was, and another thing just about the Agoges, it's like, what a freaking adventure holiday. Like, when else are you going to go to Mongolia, Namibia, Naxos? It's like, I can't say where the next ones are going to be. I'm sure you probably have heard some rumors, but I mean, it's like, when are you going to get when are you going to go to those places? And who better to go with than like a badass group of other athletes, you know?
Yeah, dude.
That's truly living.
Yeah, dude. This year has been challenging for my family and everything. But dude, I need to start creating an Agoge fund, literally, just to pay for Agoges, because I mean you're absolutely right. I mean, what better holiday and to go see places you would never go, because I mean, who would just go to Mongolia? Out of every place in the world, you know, you would never really pick Mongolia to be somewhere you're gonna go. You know, it just doesn't make sense. Yep. I want to do a race called the Mongol 100. I don't know if you've heard of it. The 100 miles in the freaking lake, frozen lake. That's gonna be awesome, man. So
you're doing it?
Yeah, I wanna. I'm literally meeting Jim Nee, which he's the CEO of Rat Race Bucket List. I'm meeting him next week in Miami. So we're gonna start planning some Latin American adventures and stuff. But yeah, the Mongol 100 is definitely on my list.
Yeah, get some.
Yeah, brother. Yeah, it's awesome, man. So, dude, back to entrepreneurship a little bit. So, have you always been an entrepreneur? I mean, have you, Yep.
Since I can remember. I mean, I was hustling. I was hustling stuff since I was a little kid. I mean, I remember taking 2 big Ziploc bags, cutting holes in one of them and poking holes in another one, getting snorkeling equipment when I was like 7, 8 years old, sneaking over the golf course fence, like going by the rich part of town, sneaking at night, going in the whole bottom of the ponds, pulling out thousands of golf balls, taking them to my parents' house, putting out bleak kids, polishing these things out. And then I bought myself a little scooter and like would take them up to the pro shop and make hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, like pre-teen.
Nice, man.
Selling golfers their balls back. And dude, I used to like tailor up clothes. I mean, yeah, I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid.
So whatever it takes, man.
Yeah,
always seeing that angle, you know.
And always see where there was an add value.
Yeah, and you know, nowadays that's up to us as parents to teach that, to try to instill that entrepreneurship and hustling spirit to our daughters, you know, and your sons and everything. It's super important, because that's, you know, nowadays I mean, they can take over the world just doing that, you know, just having that spirit, you know, that entrepreneurship spirit and that desire to hustle, you know. That hustle is it's so important to have, you know, just because it will help you in everything in life, you know, not just in entrepreneurship. It'll help you doing anything, you know.
Yeah, I think, you know, my parents always gave me what they could, like that, you know, my parents took good care of all of us kids, but they also didn't spoil us. Like, yes. I think it's very important to teach kids the value of things, and to encourage them to go and earn it.
Yeah, the value of effort, man. Just effort and self-responsibility, and actually try things before you even, you know, people plan, they stay in the planning stages. Oh yeah, it was my idea, and I'm gonna plan this and this, that. And just start. And I'm sure you've planned plenty of projects where you're like, I'm not ready, man. I'm just gonna do it. You know, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna go for it. You know. Yeah. So dude, how do you think your military career helped you, like, become a successful entrepreneur? Like, do you think that actually helped you do, you know, because I know there's a lot of military. Yeah.
100%. I mean, people hate hearing me say this, but like, school is worthless. Like, I've got degrees. I've never used them. Like, I wouldn't have gotten them unless the military paid for them. I'm like grateful that I got them. I mean, they made my dad happy. You know, he basically was like, come on, if you don't have a college degree, da, 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 da. I studied philosophy and religious studies. It was good to the philosophy worthless, the religious studies. It was good to learn about every other religion, because my background, I am a Christian, I'm a follower of Christ, but if I'm going to understand and do business with other cultures, it's, you know, the things that are the most sensitive are politics and religion. So we have to always understand each other's politics. You know, we can't ever sit and just point fingers at people and say, I'm going to judge you and blah, blah, blah. We've got to always understand the bigger picture, and we've got to understand where people are coming from. you know, we are our worldview and our background beliefs because of where our parents had us and where we were raised. You know, that's a fact. Like we are where we're from, and we are what's been instilled in us. You know, we're little computers and we're processing whatever data is put into us. So, you know, with that being said, I mean, hey, if you're going to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, of course you need school. But I'm talking about, I'll give you an example. My son's school was $25,000 US a year out here. Okay. Ridiculous. You know, I've paid, you know, $500,000 US having him out here for 12 years. He got in trouble, got expelled his senior year for smoking cigarettes. And his mother was dying, my first wife, not my mother here. He was stressed out, like he's joining the Marines, he's going reconnaissance, like that's a big decision. The kid's making this decision. Yep. So I homeschool him. I get online, I find that, you know, I get him to his Marine recruiter, I get this school that's a tier 1 school. Okay. Well, this is the thing, it's hard to find the tier 1 school. It's called Excel. For $1,200, he's gotten a better education than he was getting at this freaking ridiculous international school. He's actually learned the stuff. He's done it at his own time and his own pace. And he's graduating early. And his school has been closed down because of all the riots and the protests. And he's been able to finish up a semester early and save me, you know, $23,000 US, which is a lot of money. So what, you know, and what I see is, and I was always good at taking tests. So if you are wanting to go to university, you know, yeah, you've got to have your GPA, but if you don't test well, if you don't do well on your ACT, your NCLEX exams, your SAT, you're done anyway. Yep. So, you know, I tell people that say, I've got to go get this degree. First off, find yourself. Figure out what your core values are and who you are. Yeah. That's the most important thing. If your mission and your business idea does not reflect who your core values, who you are internally, and what you do exponentially, it's not going to work. Now, going back to your question, is what I did in the Marines, did that help me excel? Far beyond anything I ever learned in school. You know, if the U.S. Marines teaches you one thing, it's that you can do anything. No matter what is going on, you improvise, adapt, and overcome. You know, you can. You know, when I really started, I've got several companies out here, but my first company, DJW Holdings, was a sourcing company. So I was working with guys, bankers, private equity fundraisers, you know, trading commodities, working to go and source and do the due diligence for SDS reports for those commodities, the mining areas, you know, going to places that none of these bankers would go. People were afraid to go to, all over Southeast Asia and wherever. And I was loving going and doing it because, you know, that's my background as a Shrig Marine, you know, surveillance, reconnaissance, intel. So, you know, I mean, that to me, you know, getting into whether you go, you know, special units in the Army, Air Force, Navy, Marines, whatever. I recommend that to guys coming out of high school, far beyond trying to go and just get a degree to, you know, right now you are going to make more money with your hands. Like, go to a trade school. Yep. If all you want to do is put food on the table, go to a trade school and you'll walk into a job that's needed, guaranteed. You won't go in debt getting that degree, and you'll get to call your own hours and you'll make money. Like, you know.
Well, and learning to, I mean, and the Marines, I'm sure taught you learning to enjoy the journey, you know, that's a big thing that people don't understand, you know. It's just a goal, you know. They just, oh, I'm going to be happy when I buy the Ferrari. I'm going to be happy when I buy the house. But no, man, I mean, you got to enjoy what you're doing. And you're saying having the passion and finding yourself and what really drives you, you know. I mean, there's so many people, just like you said, man, that you know, go to school and get in debt and do all this stuff for just checking a box, you know, to have society or your parents and everything. It's like, oh, okay, I have a college degree. And I hear some degrees, man. I mean, it's like, I mean, it's just, do they make up these things? I mean, what are they used for? What are they useful for at all, you know? And you're absolutely right, man. I so far, I mean, most of my friends are vets. I mean, I volunteer with this organization called Operation Enduring Warrior, and through them, man, we we hang with disabled vets and just vets helping other people, and just the values that they have. You know, every the military has just it forges you into just a better human being. So I completely agree with you, man. I actually didn't enlist because I just recently became a U.S. citizen and I'm 40. So I even tried, man. I went through different ones, but there's nobody will take me. I'm too old for that. I'm too old for that shit, you know. So, but you know, now I get to help with different things. I get to use my corporate experience to help other vets, you know. Yeah, man.
Good on you, man. That's all.
Yeah, brother. So, dude, what do you think your biggest obstacle has been so far in your entrepreneurship career?
Myself, you know, I used to party pretty hard. I used to drink a lot. And I would literally make any excuse in the world to do that. That was kind of my celebration, you know. I was really, for a long time, putting success as a reward to just go all out, and kind of that was my release. Having my daughters born 4 months premature, having them almost die. They were in it really, you know, that put things in perspective more than any like combat deployment or, you know, anything that I've ever been through in my life, because they were innocent. There was no quick answer. There was nothing I could do. It was just patiently wait. And you know, that I'd say that was probably the biggest obstacle in everything, was what's important. You know, what am I doing? What for? What's going on? You know, what do I really believe about eternity? What do I really believe about purpose? What do I really believe about love? What do I really believe about relationships? You know, what am I living for? Who am I living for? And what's the sole purpose, or what are the core values behind what I'm doing? And, you know, defining that and going off of that is what really brought, I think, Vogue, you know, the licensees that we work with, and just kind of can't go too much into detail because of non-disclosure agreements, but some of the projects that we're going to be working on that are literally working with, you know, the hurt, the wounded, the broken, and placing people onto the path where they're getting to work with, you know, helping work with kids, deprogramming them from what ISIS has done to them, working with women and children that have been rescued out of sex trafficking, doing that restoration, working with unreached people groups, and putting, you know, what are kind of coming full circle, putting skills, doing things that you learned in the Marines, maybe for an offense, and now doing them on an offense against evil to work with the defense and the restoration and the rebuilding. So I would say the biggest obstacle in my life as an entrepreneur was myself. And I don't know if it was being scared to be good, versus being cocky at being good at something, versus being afraid to be righteous. So yeah, man. I mean, that's been the biggest obstacle was just being in my own way and being a dick and being you know, kind of self-medicating and not having focus on what was right. Right in the path, but having a focus on what was right in front of me and what made me feel good at the time. So, one thing that I always tell people is we spell love Time. And until we realize that that's what's important to other people, as fathers, as businessmen, as businesswomen, you know, are we putting in the time to our Heavenly Father? Are we putting in the time to our spouse? Are we putting in the time with our kids? Like, it's nice to buy people stuff. Like, yeah, we all like getting gifts. We all like giving gifts. But you remember sitting down with somebody who took the time to mentor you. Somebody that wanted you to mentor them and that you put the time in. You remember looking at that vet that you're helping in the eyes who was suicidal. These are things in the stream of life that matter. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So, yeah, dude, and it's awesome that you have that that you've realized that self-awareness, you know, because that's that is one of the hardest things, I think, for as a human being, just look inside, right? Look inward and seeing, am I the obstacle? Am I getting in my own way? And just that's awesome, brother. So, dude, tell us about Virtuous Outdoor Group. How did that concept came to reality? That's what you're known for. I mean, you're also a great actor. I mean, I didn't know that about you. I started researching this, but Virtuous Outdoor Group, man. I just I went to Mongolia, saw this amazing clothing, man. But I literally have every pant, every jacket that you sell. I bought one, dude, and it was amazing. Just ended up buying them all, and it's just like you told me once. I remember very clearly. We were walking in Mongolia next to each other, and I'm like, dude, why Virtuous Outdoor Group? And you're like, and you told me, man, because I'm sick of my fellow brothers, man, getting hurt from messed up gear. From gear that's just not good. So. Tell us a little bit about your latest project. It's an amazing project. And what you can tell us about the future. I know you have a lot of non-disclosure agreements, but tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah. So I'll back up for one sec. You and I were talking about. I just want to tell people 2 books to read. Man Search for Meaning.
I've read that one. Yes,
it's
awesome.
And 12 for Life, Jordan Peterson. Exactly like you were saying. It's he says when you're sitting, feeling sorry for yourself, wondering, why is this shit not working? Are you willing to ask yourself the hard questions? Because if you are, you're not going to like the answers, because it's going to be you. It's always going to be you that's in your way. And it's when we ask ourselves those questions, that's when we can build self-awareness. So I'm not special or I don't deserve props for finding that self-awareness. I went through the stages and the steps of asking myself those questions, and I was like, I'm the idiot in my own way. So those are 2 great books for that. So,
dude, what was the second book you said? The Man Search for Meaning, I'm very familiar with, but what was the second book you said?
Jordan B. Peterson's 12 Rules for Life.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna get that right away, man. Yeah.
Awesome book. And about Virtus, dude, thank you for the kind words. It's been so much fun doing this company. I started the company with some really great guys back in 2015. We had the concept in 2014 to just start making and experimenting with new tech fabrics and really kind of trying those out. And the more that I explored the textile arena, I was finding fabrics that were super to treat every garment at the molecular level. From my deployments and starting off in Latin America, then going to, hot triple canopy jungles, Panama, Bolivia, down near areas very well.
Yep.
And having like a BDU cotton or a Gore-Tex or a Gumby suit, like just wearing this shit's putting you at risk.
Yeah, that's bad, dude. Cotton is bad.
Yeah, it's like when you're the things you're issued after you've spent so much time and the government spent so much money training you, that the things you're wearing are your biggest deterrent, adding stress to an already stressful situation. It was just maddening. And then going into mountains, deserts, Afghanistan, Pakistan, freezing cold mountains, burning hot valleys, deserts, and being in areas where you're getting in a chopper in the morning and the night. It was a headache, and having guys and gals have to spend money on our Terex and, other great brands when they're not making money and they're in the military, it drove me crazy. And when I saw the factories that are Terex, Patagonia, brands that I love and still love, I rock all sorts of brands. I don't look at brands as competitors. I look at, there's enough room out there with clothing brands for everybody to
absolutely
get what they want. It's like, and if you're not innovative and staying on the front of the power curve, like there's new stuff that comes out every freaking day, new treatments, new fabrics, new garments. So that's where the idea really started. It was making stuff for ourselves, testing it, and then getting it to our brothers that were in the SOCOM arena. And it was, Virtus is Latin for warrior virtues. I was a philosophy major, philosophy, and then double, religious studies. Yeah. So it's always this, this an honorable deed to go and venture into a company that was basing itself off of warrior virtues. So that's why Virtus.
Yep. Awesome.
We were Virtus or group VOG VOG, which is also Virtues of God. So
Okay.
we originally launched it as Virtus.
Mm-hmm.
Now we've done this next generation that we just launched. Everything is VOG. It's because I own Virtus Global, VOG Global US. We've got Virtus Outdoor Group Hong Kong. And now in other countries, we're doing different projects. So VOG is like the holding company, Virtus Outdoor Group. You're going to be seeing tactical, hunting, fishing, winter sports, diving. So way too much to just have under Virtus. So as we get more into film, into media, into productions, into mentoring programs, and just a lot of stuff you're going to be seeing in 2020 and 2021, especially in the gaming field, sensor field, tech field, just wild stuff. That's really why now you're going to be seeing VOG, because you're going to be seeing different groups and kind of different subtext under what was originally Virtus. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah. You recently launched your new collection. That your website now, I think it's what VOG store, right? The actual site. Yep. And your new collection is cool, man. That camo that you created, that stuff is super cool. I mean, I actually did my last the death race. I was doing the death race this year, and I did it with your pants and one of your long sleeve shirts, man. And it's 72 hours of pain, man. No problem. So yeah, dude, it's good stuff, man. It's good stuff for sure. It's good stuff for sure. So that's awesome, brother. That's awesome, man. So dude, what advice would you give to people that want to be entrepreneurs, or that actually are entrepreneurs already looking to grow? What is something you would give to them so that they can take back and maybe get inspired and grow their company themselves,
Man, I would say, like, biggest mistakes that I've made that I wouldn't do.
Okay.
Pick your partner so wisely. Like,
yes.
When you're an entrepreneur, you've got money. You're creating money out of nowhere.
Yep.
So shit is hard. And if you've got a great idea, you're going to know it quickly, because people are going to try to throw money at you. You've got to be you've got to try your hardest to be in a place to where you can always be your majority shareholder. The minute you're not the majority shareholder of your own company or your own idea, you're never going to be free to really do what you want to do and do what you need to do. So be very, very weary of just capital. That's, there's no way around that unless you've just, got a sugar mama or a really rich family or some good people to throw money at you.
Yep.
But be very careful who you take money from. Be very careful who you partner with. Know and own your idea. Really, like for me, you've got to understand the manufacturing. You've got to understand how to create camouflage. You've got to understand how to do dye sublimation, heat transfer, wet transfer, hydro dipping, cutting ladles, how it works on nylon, how it works with IR, what countries you can import to that are very compliant, how you can use IR, military contracts, civilian safety gear, stuff that if you don't love what you're doing, don't do it. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and do something, I mean, you're going to have sleepless nights. You're going to have days where it's tough. It's an endurance evolution. If it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So my advice would be, make sure you're ready. Make sure you're ready to be on a consistent daily roller coaster.
Yeah.
Be very, very careful who you take money from, and love, earn it, and own it. I mean, you've got to freaking know your shit so deep inside and out, and you've got to grow with it. You might start a company that you planned out. You planned on making freaking jackets like Vogue, like you ended up saying, and you might see that your real passion and talent and that value is in backpacks. So you might, and I'm just giving this for an example.
Yeah.
But be ready to ride the wave where it goes to, and be you say semper gumby. You got to always be flexible.
Yeah, adaptable. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you have got to be willing to work non-freaking stop. And secondly, on top of that, I would say, humility. You've got to own it. You've got to earn it and be proud of what you're doing. But you have to always be willing to learn. It is, being an entrepreneur is a permanent mother flapping learning evolution.
Oh yeah,
you're always going to be learning. So have mentors that aren't trying to get money from you, but that really just care. And they're out there.
Oh yeah,
there are good people out there, way more than most people would think.
Oh yeah, and all you have to do is ask, man. I mean, many people don't ask, and it's you'll be surprised what happens if you just open your mouth, be humble, and just say, "I don't know this, man. Can you help me?"
That's it. You said it. I mean, that's it. Every young person insecure with a good idea wants to tell you how much they know instead of asking and saying they don't know, and then getting the wealth of knowledge. I've been so blessed to have mentors that it blows my mind that they'll even spend time with me. But again, it's that you spell love T-I-M-E, realize it is real, and they take the time to talk to you, right?
Yep.
So yeah, I mean, just, always be careful, be cautious, be humble, know what you need to do inside and out, and be willing to learn. And we can't do everything. So the stuff that you can't do, like for me, I'm not a coder. So the guy that just built our new website, one of my partners, Gary Sidston, he creates AI, he builds drones, he builds AI bots. He's brought in a lot of the projects that we're doing in the tech side. Partner with people that really are masters of something you're not, that you trust and that trust you. Because the more you grow as an entrepreneur, you're going to meet people that complement what you're doing and that you complement what they're doing. If we all want to be jacket designers, don't partner with other jacket designers.
Yeah.
Because you're going to step all over each other's coattails, and you're going to slow each other down. So, if you're a designer, get with a supplier. If you're a supplier and a designer, get with an amazing marketer,
Yep.
There's always, so.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. And yeah, make sure your team and your partners, they're rowing in the same direction as you, in the same boat and the same direction as you. I mean, that's critical. It's just, and you're absolutely right. I've had that happen to me in the past in companies that, you just take money from somebody that just have the money and don't understand that's your business, man. And you end up in trouble because of it. You're absolutely right about that. That's critical. Cool, brother.
You end up running in circles. Now you're having to answer constantly to people who didn't really even know what your mission statement was, and they just put money.
Yep, exactly. And you want the freedom to
conversations about dividends.
Yep.
Spending more time writing reports for people who don't even really know what we're doing as a company.
Absolutely, man. Just be in control of your own destiny, man. That's especially as an entrepreneur, that's huge. That's huge. Cool, brother. Hey, man. I know it's late where you are. You gotta go back to your family today. I appreciate your time, brother. I hope I get to see you again soon. I mean, I'm sure next Agoge I'll be there, man, and we'll get to hang out. And dude, enjoy Marbella, man. Marbella is freaking beautiful, man. That's an amazing step you're doing. I'm like legit happily jealous of you, man. Yeah, dude, that's amazing, man. That's amazing, brother. So, dude, have a great night. Thank you for your time. I hope all this, you've given us a lot of golden nuggets for entrepreneurs everywhere and just to people to follow. And I can't wait to follow all your stuff you're doing, man. It's keep at it and keep hustling, brother. All right, brother. Hey, man.
Always.
Take care, my brother. Bye.
You too. Bye.
Super.